It's not poetic, it's psychological. What's strange is how often people describe a quiet room as noisy. No traffic, no voices, yet inside, something is talking, repeating, commenting, narrating. That loud feeling usually isn't chaos, it's inner speech. Silent speech that doesn't feel silent at all. Your brain isn't just thinking in ideas, it's simulating sound. Not metaphorically, functionally. Which means silence outside doesn't automatically silence inside. Your brain treats thoughts more like sound than you think. Inner speech uses the same systems your brain uses to hear real voices. Same rhythm, same timing, same tone. The only thing missing is air moving. When you hear a sentence in your head, your brain lights up many of the same areas it uses for actual sound. From the inside, there isn't a strong difference between something you hear and something you imagine hearing, which is kind of brilliant, and also kind of rude, because now silence has competition. Your thoughts and the world compete for the same space. Here's where it gets stranger. Internal sound and external sound don't live in separate lanes. They share processing space. When one gets busy, the other waits. So, when your inner voice is active, outside noise doesn't disappear. It just loses the competition. That's why intense thinking can make the room feel muted. The world doesn't get quieter, your thoughts just get priority. Your brain has limited bandwidth. Whatever feels most important gets the volume. Prediction can feel like intrusion. Normally, when you speak out loud, your brain sends a signal ahead of time saying, "The sound is coming from us." That softens your own voice so it doesn't startle you. Inner speech uses a similar system, but sometimes the labeling isn't clean. When that happens, thoughts don't feel like thoughts. They feel like events, like something happening to you instead of something you're doing. Still normal, just closer to the border. Emotion turns thoughts into a committee. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? This is where loudness really changes. A neutral thought is just a thought. A thought tied to fear, shame, urgency, or attachment? That is not alone. Emotion joins. Memory joins. Self-focus joins. Now, it's no longer one voice. It's a room full of voices agreeing with each other. It becomes a committee. That's why emotionally loaded thoughts feel heavier. They aren't louder in sound, they're louder in importance. Priority feels like volume. Repetition doesn't make a thought true, it makes it present. A looping thought doesn't get louder because it's meaningful. It gets louder because it keeps returning. Each loop reactivates the same networks. Working memory stays occupied, suppression attempts fail, and ironically, trying to stop the thought adds fuel. The mind starts to feel crowded, even when nothing is actually happening. Silence becomes busy. Not everyone hears their thoughts the same way. Some people have a vivid inner voice. Others think mostly in images. Some think in abstract feelings with very few words. None of this is better or worse. It's cognitive style. Which is why one person says, "My head never shuts up," and another says, "I don't really hear words in my mind." Both are telling the truth. Attention is the real volume knob. Attention decides what gets amplified. When attention turns inward, the world loses priority. Environmental monitoring fades. Internal signals sharpen. Your brain isn't being dramatic, it's being efficient. Whatever you attend to feels louder because it wins access to shared resources. Loudness here isn't about decibels. It's about dominance. Where the boundary can thin. In rare cases, internal thoughts can cross into external experience. Thoughts feel spoken, located outside, as loud as real voices. This isn't everyday inner speech. It's what happens when self-monitoring systems fail. Most people never go there, but it shows how thin the line actually is. So why do thoughts feel louder than sounds? Because your brain stimulates sound. Because predictions can override perception. Because emotion amplifies priority. Because repetition builds pressure. Because attention chooses winners. Because brains differ. Thoughts don't move air, but they absolutely move resources. The uncomfortable truth. The brain doesn't care whether noise is useful. It cares whether it's salient. A single sentence in your head can feel louder than a car horn if your brain decides it matters more. Not because you're broken, not because you're weak, but because perception isn't passive. It's negotiated. And maybe that's the quiet insight hiding underneath all this noise. The loudest thing in the room is often the thing your brain refuses to stop predicting. Not because it's real, but because, to your brain, it matters.